Hi, everybody. Dave and Kirsten Hart here from our little cabin in Branson, Missouri. We're so glad you joined us today. Really glad you joined us because we have one of our favorite people. I was going to say in Israel, but in the world.
Oh,
Chaim
come
Malespin.
on.
I'm a brother. We've only known you for almost 4 years. It feels like we've known you forever.
It
Can
does.
you
It
believe that?
does. Well, we miss you so much. We just want to hug you,
I
and
know.
you're so far away.
We're trying to get back. We really are, and we're not allowed to yet. So, lots of questions for you. But first of all, you're in Tiberias, one of our favorite places in the world. And
Yeah.
tell us what's going on there with the virus and all of that. When do you think we might be able to get back with our tours?
It's funny. A lot of people actually ask me and they say, "Hey, when will tourism be able to come back? When will volunteers be able to come back and volunteer with us in the charity?" All these, "Hey, Moxie, you got to go to your seat." And people say, so we're here at home, and so people say this, and I said, "How much facial hair do I have? Am I carrying around a staff? So I'm not a prophet. So I don't
I was
know,
going to
but
ask
I
you.
mean,
I was going to
I
ask you if
know.
you are one.
Yeah, I do have a prophetic gifting actually. But truth be told, is I say, you know what? I say we're all just going through the most amount of lockdowns of any country in the world, the most amount of lockdown days, more than Wuhan, China. But you know what? We're really hopeful. I mean, first of all, that's given everybody time to really get back to the basics, get back to the core. And there might be those whose faith has grown cold, in recent time. But there are those whose faith is firing up in this time of intimacy with the Father in their prayer room, in their house, with their family, having more time for Bible studies, maybe going through the Parashat HaShavua, the portion of the week. But yeah, you say with the Charity Aliyah Return Center, when will we get to get volunteers back through? A lot of people have been asking me, actually, it's under 200 people, but a lot of people are saying we want to come back and volunteer at the Aliyah Return Center, one of the locations. And I say, guys, we're thinking, safe guesstimation would be maybe September, but it could be earlier. Some are saying July. But things change so much, and but we're not sick. We're very healthy. I guess to answer your question about lockdown emotions, people want to go. They want to get their prayer shawl out. They want to go to the synagogue. They want to pray, and sometimes you're like, no, you can't go there. You have to have, you have to have 10 people minimum supposed to be to pray in a minyan in the synagogue, and there's one right next to our house, but you can't go there. And so people get a little bit antsy, and so it's a little tough,
So
but
it's got to be.
God is in control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be strange with tour buses. I mean, when we're there, it's packed full of buses. Is that even going on right now at all?
No, and at first, at the beginning, I mean, it was amazing how many things really did happen in 2020 last year. I mean, even the House of Prayer getting renovated, even being able to have two Aliyah buildings and people making Aliyah and coming back, Aliyah immigration, obviously to Israel, and all this and that. But little by little, tourists left and more left and more left until finally there was pretty much no non-Israelis in the land at all. Very strange.
Yeah.
There was then at the beginning a lot of Israeli tourism, and some of our buildings and things, we had Israeli guests more than internationals, just visiting and on a trip. But then even that with the lockdowns, and it was almost like, you see that old Western movie and that tumbleweed just tumbling. I
Yes.
felt like that oftentimes, actually,
So
looking around.
You've been
Straight.
on our program on started Zola Levitt Presents, which has turned into Our Jewish Roots. You've been kind of a regular on there. We've known you for years. Hopefully people recognize who you are, but you are part of this Aliyah Return Center, a vibrant ministry up in Tiberias, up in the Galilee. But you guys like rely on volunteers to do what you do? What is
Yeah.
happen with your volunteer database, not database, but your
Yeah.
foundation?
Well, the entire ministry model, let's call it, when we first established, we realized there's 2.4 billion with a B Christians in the world, and many of those don't even know there is a country called Israel where the Bible was written. But once they discover that, some of them say, wow, I want to visit that, and even fewer say, you know what, I want to get there and I want to help. Just like I go to Africa, help build an orphanage, I want to go there. I want to help the needy people. And we said, well, there's specifically a desire to help many needy people, but also immigrants to Israel. I myself, of course, immigrated many years ago, a couple decades ago, from the United States. And many are coming back, even under these very interesting times that we live in. Jewish people still are returning, but we built it. The entire model was, hey guys, why don't you come and help and be part of this loving arms to just welcome. And it's really the Isaiah chapter 49, verse 22, because God says the non-Jewish people will carry the Jewish people in their arms and on their shoulders, and they're going to help them. So I said, that's our model, and it would be amazing to help them. But now that there's no people, no internationals right at this moment, it's just very interesting to say, how are we even surviving? It's a miracle that we're even surviving through this time. But we still have about 12, funny number, about 12 right now, including me, in our staff and team right now, just surviving, but believing that very soon it'll open up again, sooner the better, to continue God's plan of Israel and the nations, preparing the way.
So those of us that would love to be there to help you, we can't get there right now, but we can help financially, we can help support. Tell us how we can help you and your vision of Aliyah Return Center.
Well, praise God. I mean, there's a few places where there's many, you probably around the world, there's an increasing extreme poverty that's happening due to this virus. And same as in Israel, there's right now in our nearby area, 150 families right in this very area, this very city, Tiberias, 150 extreme poverty families. And I'm just like, wow, if the nations knew that they could provide them some food, some clothing, some stuff, we're just their hands. Well, there's definitely a 501c3 in the United States, registered charity. And here you just go to Aliyah returncenter.com and just click donate, and people even in this time can really bring a smile to the sons and daughters of Abraham, as many of them are in their initial steps in a new land where they don't even know the language.
Well, here's a quick question too. Have people been able to make Aliyah this past year?
In fact, yes, there are Ken, as we say in Hebrew, Ken. Yes, there are the push and the pull factors. So there's push factors like, ooh, our jobs are closing down in Ukraine or in France or maybe even anti-Semitic factors in different countries. So there's these push factors, but then there's some pull factors of like, some people are saying, wow, you mean I can actually work here and still do my old job? There's initiatives to keep their old job, but here in a new version, more of an integration. You mean Aliyah Return Center could provide me a place to stay for free while I'm looking around? So there's push and pull factors, which are bringing not as many as in 2019, but still thousands, even in light of this Passover plague, we're calling it the Passover plague, which has continued from Passover, hopefully will end on Passover.
Wow.
A whole year of one plague.
That gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's good. And that 12 number, that's just not coincidence.
Disciples.
I always refer to you, and there's that handful of these Galileans, and you're one of those Galileans that is, I always say, it's like you're stirring up great new things up in what you say, Jesus's neighborhood. I love that.
Yeah. The old stomping grounds of the Messiah, the greatest Galilean that ever was. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so good. Hey, we're out of time right now, and we want to talk with you more. We have more questions. We're going to do that in another segment, but we love you, and we'd love for you to join us again, folks, to see what's going on with Chaim Malespin. Bye.
Can't wait. Good seeing you guys.